start off with our question of the day.
Right, we start with our question of the day, and this is what we are pulsing you on. So what are your views on banks closing African Global Operations, formerly Bosasa's accounts, and their application for voluntary liquidation? What do you make of that story? And, you know, we heard that yesterday they've applied for voluntary liquidation because the banks will be closing their accounts by the end of this month. It's not, the company is not insolvent as we understand it. They simply will not have anywhere to bank. So they can't transact, essentially. And therefore, they've applied for a voluntary liquidation. They've tried to get banks here at home and abroad, and to no avail.
Can't win. Yeah, I just feel sorry for the jobs. 4,500 people looking to lose their jobs, you know, because of what's happening, and that is devastating. But please do write to us at Morning Live, SABC, #Morning Live. All right, big stories of the day to look out for today.
Right, President Ramaphosa addresses the official annual opening of the National House of Traditional Leaders today.
Caster Semenya case continues for the rest of the week. She is challenging the IAAF Court of Arbitration for Sport for ruling that the testosterone levels of female middle distance runners should be restricted.
Also, Deputy President David Mabuza will be in Guyana today, that to meet with various stakeholders to address service delivery and chieftainship disputes.
And then Treasury continues testifying before the State Capture Commission. The South African Human Rights Commission is expected to reconvene its inquiry into the contamination of the Vaal River system. This after allegations that approximately 150 megalitres of raw sewage had been spilled into the Vaal River daily, or had been spilling into the Vaal River daily.
Interesting. Right, that takes care of some of the big stories for today. Let's take a look at the top trending topics. First there, #Patrice Motsepe, and of course he is the founder of AREP and the chairman of that company as well. And he essentially held a media conference yesterday to set the record straight with regard to some of the allegations that have been swirling around about him and his companies doing business with government. And this because of the conflict of interest that arises as a result of him being his sisters being married to Jeff Radebe and also to President Ramaphosa. So there was quite a lot of
conflicts of interest,
buzz around conflict of interest in that regard. But he's saying, you know what, he actually bought his stake into that through a subcontracting deal in which they pumped 400 million of their own money, had to get another 400 million loan. So all of that was put on the table yesterday. And the reaction was quite interesting, very interesting. Some people like, we believe Patrice. Some were like, maybe there's more. You know, so that's where that's at.
Okay, so big discussions there. Bosasa was a big trending topic, and of course that is related to our question of the day today, and the fact that there two major banks, I think it's FNB and Absa, is that correct?
Yes.
They have decided to close their bank accounts at the end of this month, and therefore they have nowhere to bank. That's what the company are saying. This after all of these major revelations were given at the State Capture Commission, particularly with Angelo Agrizzi. Amazingly, he was not even mentioned in the press release with regard to the liquidation of the company and also anything to do with the problems. And in fact, the company went and said, due to negative media coverage and
reputational damage to the company.
It's kind of like, I don't know if it was the media that was in charge of that. I think Agrizzi came and he was the one who gave everything. I mean, the media had been trying to work behind the scenes, but I don't think that had the impact that Agrizzi's testimony did. But nonetheless, that was the reason. And the problem with all of this is that 4,500 jobs are now at risk, and you know, how to absorb them into a market that is already oversaturated with people looking for jobs and minds retrenching, and it's just a very bad situation right now. So Bosasa taking center stage, and you will be hearing a lot more of that.
Yeah, Titamboweni, of course, tomorrow is budget day, and you'll be in Cape Town for that tomorrow.
Certainly.
But people really, you know, anticipating or, you know, trying to preempt what might come out of that, and also giving their views on some of what the economists, are saying could happen, the sin taxes as usual. But what I thought was quite interesting, they're talking about another hike in the fuel levy. So that means the fuel price goes up once again. Rob Byrne was talking yesterday, we were talking about the price of Brent crude oil, rand-dollar exchange rate, and the fact that we are looking at another fuel hike, and there seems to be some position among some of the economists that there will be another fuel levy.
Oh, I'm sure. It's always the fuel levy, it's the sin taxes, it's the almost have-tos that get added onto our bill. And it just gets heavier and heavier and heavier.
But we've discussed this. We've unpacked that petrol price,
I know.
and just how much of it actually goes to taxes and levies. Where does it end?
I know. Well, that's what we're going to hear tomorrow, and we'll bring you full comprehensive coverage of that. Caster Semenya, it is still trending. People are talking about this all over the world, and the immense support from South Africans is very heartwarming, I must say. Just reading a couple of the tweets that are coming through. Somebody from Levy Omen saying, are we still having this debate? Caster Semenya has a God-given talent. Her body knows how to perform, and she has the mindset of a winner. Do not touch her body, but adjust the standards of the sport. There's just so much around this. George Kibler saying they want to reduce her naturally produced levels of testosterone just because a few athletes with resources, money, and facilities still cannot catch up to her, and so the argument goes on and on and on and on. So there we go.
Yeah, so this particular hearing will be ongoing for the entire week, so we'll still hear a lot more about that. But it got off to somewhat of a rocky start with, some revelations being made by the IAAF, whereas they had struck some confidentiality agreement. So the whole week that will go on.
It will, and I also I didn't watch it, but I know that there's a beautiful advert that Nike have brought out, all about Caster Semenya.
Yes.
Very inspirational.
Yeah.
I saw it. I just haven't clicked on it as yet. I really want to watch that one. But Caster Semenya, strength to you. Keep going. Keep going. This must be the most difficult time for her. Okay, it's almost 20 minutes past 6.